Hi everybody, I'm Mitch Ziegler, physical therapist at Spring Arbor University Physical Therapy. Today we're going to go over stretching for the hamstring. We're going to do a progression of stretches going from easy all the way to the most difficult hamstring stretch. And this is the program that we have at Spring Arbor University. So here we go. For stretch number one, what we're going to do is we're going to put our leg out in front of us. So if you're sitting in a chair, especially at work or at home, maybe doing some paperwork or even eating, you can just put your leg out in front of you and just lean forward ever so slightly, and you'll feel a stretch in the hamstring muscle right back here. And we're going to put a picture of what that hamstring muscle looks like right now. Okay, so that was a picture of the hamstring muscle. So again, we want to make sure that we have good posture, good upright posture, so we're not bending forward into this curved position when we do the stretch. So we're nice and upright with our posture. We just lead forward with our chest a little bit, and we'll feel that pull right back in the hamstring. So people who are particularly tight, this stretch will be effective. And then if this becomes very easy, then we want to move into step number two for our progression part number two for our hamstring stretch. So what we'll be doing is we'll be having our leg out on like a bed or on the couch or someplace you can put your leg straight. You want to make sure your chest is nice and upright. You want to lean forward with your chest, making sure your body stays perfectly erect. Again, don't slouch forward and do this positioning, because then we're just stretching muscles in the back. We're trying to focus on our hamstring. Stay nice and upright. Lean forward until you feel a nice pull behind here. So it's not a really light stretch, it's not a real heavy stretch, it's kind of in this middle. That's the intensity that we want to do the stretch. So we lean forward. We want to do this stretch for 1 minute, and for the stretch I showed before with your leg just straight on the ground, we want to do that for 1 minute. We're also going to put a dynamic piece into this. So there's two different ways to stretch. Let me back up. Two different ways to stretch. There's a static stretch where we just hold a stretch, which I think is particularly boring. And then there's also a dynamic stretch where we go into the stretch and then we offer movement into 3 planes of motion. So for instance, if I rock my foot back and forth like this is working in the transverse plane, okay? If I move my body back and forth like this is working a little bit more in the frontal plane. And then if I just move forward a little bit, and I can use my hands and just kind of come forward, making sure that I'm not, curving my back, making sure I stay nice and upright. If I just lean a little forward and then come back and do a motion like this is a dynamic stretch in the sagittal plane. So I would like you to try to investigate those 3 planes and do a little rocking like this. We'll say do 20 seconds of that, maybe do 20 seconds of side to side, and then 20 seconds of just leaning forward and leaning back. You can also do that in a sitting position. So the same thing here, lean forward, rock your foot side to side, move your body a little side to side, and then you can go ahead and lean a little forward and a little back. So that covers the positions you can do in sitting with your leg straight or with your leg on the ground. We're going to progress to another position where we'll be standing. Hi everybody, this is part 3 of our hamstring progression, and these are exercises we'll do in standing. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your foot up on a step, the second step of your staircase. You can put it up on an ottoman or something that's about maybe 18 inches high. And then we're going to do the same thing. We call it the waiter's bow, where you keep your body completely upright and you just lean forward a little bit. If I lean just this much, I feel it pulling in my hamstring already. So you don't have to do this bending forward with your back at all. It's just keeping your body perfectly straight and leaning forward, and you'll get that hamstring stretch. And then we do want to get 3 planes of motion in this stretch too. So wiggling your foot in and out, that'll change where the stretch is in the hamstring. Also just wiggling your butt a little side to side, I want you to do that. And then I also want you just to lean a little bit forward and a little bit backward to make it a dynamic stretch. So this wiggling side to side, do for 20 seconds. This is our transverse plane part of the stretch. Wiggle the butt side to side. This is going to be our frontal plane part of the stretch. And do that for 20 seconds, and then lean forward and back just a little bit, keeping that body perfectly upright. And this will be our sagittal plane part of the stretch. Do that for 20 seconds. Okay, so if this stretch becomes easy, then we move to the next stage, which would be stage 4 of our progression. So in this one, we bend our knees, we put our hands on the second step of your staircase, or again, something that's about 18 inches. You push your knees back, and if you feel a strong pull there, then you're at the right height for your hands. If you push your knees back and you don't feel anything, then you don't have enough stretch, so you need to move your hands lower. So then you move your hands down to the next step, and you see if that stretches. If that doesn't stretch, then you can move your hands down to your fingers or down to the ground. So I'm just going to demonstrate with the hands on the step. And so you put your hands, you push back until you feel a gentle pull. I should say a moderate pull. So again, if this is a light pull, this is a heavy pull, you want to be in that medium range, that light to medium range. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to push our knees back and forth like this. I want you to do that 20 times. And after the 20th time, I want you to lock your knees back, and then you're just going to take your hips and go straight side to side. This stretches in the frontal plane of motion. When I was rocking my knees back and forth, this does the sagittal plane. So I'm going straight side to side, and I'm going to do 20 rocks side to side. So every time my hip comes to the right, counts as one, and you do 20 of those. After your 20th one, now we're going to do a swivel. So I'm going to take my hips and I'm going to swivel them in a half circle. And so I'm going to go half circle to the left here, half circle to the right. I should be feeling that stretch in the hamstring the whole time. So I'm going to do 20. Every time my hip goes to the right, counts as 20. This introduces the transverse plane in the hamstring, stretching in the transverse plane. So that completes stage or progression number 4, and now we're going to go to progression number 5. Everybody, we've moved from the standing position and now we're going to go onto a mat. This is progression number 5. So here we go. You're going to need a strap for this, and I'm going to show off and not use a strap because I practice this a lot to stretch my hamstrings. But so let me show off first so I can feel good about myself, and then I'll show you how to do the progression using a strap. So what we're going to do is you want to reach up, grab your foot, you want to straighten this leg out. So the first part of the stretch is you just straighten the knee out and you bend it. So this is the sagittal stretching plane of motion that you want to work on. So straighten the knee, bend it, straighten the knee, bend it, straighten the knee, bend it. That's the dynamic sagittal stretch that we're going to do. We'll do 20 of those. Then what we're going to do is keep our right shoulder down and we let our leg drop all the way over, and we do that same dynamic stretch like this. Now we're targeting the lateral hamstring. So the bicep femoris is what we're targeting right here. So just stretch back and forth and do 20 like this. And then we're going to come back and we're going to use our right hand and we're going to open up like this, and we're going to do the dynamic stretch like this to get more of the semimembranosus and tendinosus. And we do 20 like that. Okay, so that was me showing off. Now, if we use, probably everybody will need a strap, and you're just going to put the strap around your foot. What I want you to do is to pull your foot up until you start to feel a pretty good pull in your hamstring. And then you're going to reach up with, in this case, it's going to be your left hand, the opposite hand that you're stretching, the leg that you're stretching. And then all you're going to do is you're going to just do that same straightening the knee and bending the knee. And you do that 20 times. Then you're going to pull your leg over as far as you can until you get that good stretch in the lateral portion of your leg. And then you're just going to do this stretch. You're just going to bend and straighten the knee in this position 20 times. And if you can take it, if it's too easy over here, then pull the foot up higher to intensify the stretch. Okay? And it's always better to keep your elbows straight when you do the stretch, when you grab your strap. So you do 20 in that position, and then you're going to open the leg up like this, and you're going to do 20 out in this position like this to get more of the medial portion of the hamstring. Better to straighten the arm out again and keep your left shoulder down when you're doing this. So if you're rolling your whole body to do any of this, that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in keeping our shoulders flat on the table, reaching up as high as you can on the strap, and just working on bending and straightening the knee and doing it in the 3 different positions. So this is a pretty intense stretch for the hamstring. It's our 5th in our series of progression. So I hope you enjoy those stretches, and your hamstrings will definitely get longer if you do these progressions. Thank you very much.